Welcome back to my channel. Today I am sitting on the porch enjoying my day off, getting this breeze that's coming through. It's not hot and it's not cold. It's actually cloudy, but the air feels really good out here. So today, yesterday actually, I started reading the book of Deuteronomy, and I wanted to give insight on it as I meditate on it. I was just sitting out here and I was like, well, let me just do a video on chapter 1 and 8. But before I give you a little insight on it, I wanted to give you guys the summary of chapter 1. It's not the whole chapter, it's just basically the first paragraph, like chapter 1, and it's the verses 6 through 8 is mainly what I'm hitting notes on. But what I really am talking about at the end is going to be mainly for chapter 8. I mean verse 8, sorry. So I did have to write notes down on this, and it says Moses speaking on the behalf of the Lord, and I wrote that down so you can kind of get a feel of what Moses is saying and who's he speaking on the behalf of. Because when you go to the chapter, if you don't have a commentary Bible and you keep reading it over and over, depending what you're reading or reading from, you can get confused. So whatever Moses is saying at this point is straight from God, commended from God. So it says, Moses speaking on the behalf of God, when the Lord threatened Israel with destruction for them sinning, Moses stepped in on their behalf. And you can reference back to Exodus 32:11 through 14 on that. He led the people for 40 years speaking God's message. So I put that in so you can get a little insight on that part. He began to explain God's law to the people. Now, in the previous years at Kadesh Barnea, the people had rebelled against the Lord and refused to enter the land. So everybody from Moses' generation will die in the wilderness for not trusting him. So in the beginning, in the previous years, everybody that disobeyed or didn't trust God had died in the wilderness. So this part of Deuteronomy is speaking of a new generation. So it says here, so the book of So the book of Deuteronomy opens up with a new generation of Israelites standing at the edge of the promised land. So Deuteronomy 1 and 8 says, see, I have given you this land. Go in and take possessions of the land that the Lord swore he will give to your fathers, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and their descendants after them. God had already redeemed Israel from the Egyptian bondage as the promise of their ancestor Abraham. He chose them and entered into a covenant with them. And we all know a covenant is an agreement between him and them and God. He would be their God and they would be his people. In return, they are to be obedient to him and him only. Okay, so God told them to go to the land that he promised Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. That he promised Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and their future descendants. So the new generation, the people that Moses are speaking to now, was already at the edge of the promised land. So even though God had the land there, Israel still had to go and take possession of it. Which means, what does that mean for me? Even though I know that God has promised me something, or the things that he promised me in prayer time or meditation time of me wanting more and desiring to do whatever his will is, he already placed it in me. For one, it's already completed. I now in return have to walk it out. Is it hard? Yes. It is. Even though you can be obedient, but sometimes you can get stuck and not know exactly which way to go, because for me, that's where I'm at, just not knowing which way to go. So whatever God has promised to you, it's not like we can get it just by sitting here and just praying and that's it. So I wrote down some things that I think we have to do in order to get God's promise. First of all, we have to seek God first in all things. Because you can make a decision or a choice and you can think that it's a God ideal, but when it's really a good ideal, and it may not even be God's ideal, it's just your ideal. Not knowing the pressure of whatever of that desire that's in you, you don't know if it's yours or God's. That's why I said I think it's good to go to God first in all things, and then you should pray, love, serve, work, commitment. Commitment is a big one, because some people, whenever they get to the place where they feel like they're comfortable and they have all the things that they need, they basically just let go of God. But whether it's good or bad, I think you should always continue your relationship with God, continue reading, giving gratitude, and being thankful. So never just stop seeking God because you think you're at a point where you're comfortable. And you always got to keep fighting the good fight of faith. I too get weak. I get confused. I don't even know if I want to say depressed. I get sad, or just like I'm trying, but nothing is coming together because I don't hear you. I don't see anything happening different in my life. But you still got to keep the faith and keep going and knowing that He's working it out. At any time, like, I could get up right now and my phone could ring and it could be a call that's going to change my life forever. So that's why you just got to always stay on your toes. You just always got to keep praising Him, and not just only that, you just got to stay committed to reading His Word, because His Word is what gives you life, and it gives you hope, and it gives you something to hold on to. You have to stay holding on to it, even when a week or two may come and you just don't feel like doing or saying nothing. I just sometimes ask God to search my heart. I might just say, thank you, Jesus, when stuff get overwhelmed or I'm so exhausted. It's not the fact of who's going to win the race first, or trying to hurry up and get through it, because it's never going to get through. You're always going to go through. So I think what you continuously have to do is stay in the Word and have it inside and on your heart. I have no clue what I'm doing. I'm just figuring it out as I go along, but I know who I serve and whose I am. Having self-discipline is a big one too, because not just waiting when things get bad should you reach out to God and build your relationship, although sometimes that's where He finds us when we're in our mess. But when we get out of our mess, some people let go, like I said earlier. But the key here is just to staying in this good fight, having self-discipline. Like me, I done got to the point where no matter what I do, I have to talk to God. I have to get my word. I have to read. Even when I don't feel like it. Yes, it's okay not to. I mean, you can read every day, but some days I don't. Now, I might go 1 or 2 days without reading, but I would not go 7 days without reading, without some kind of word, without something feeding my spirit at all, because I feel like if I do that, I get off balance, and I don't want to get off balance. So as far as the promised land, just like they was on the edge of it, and at the same time not knowing how to get there, or how are we going to do this. It's the same way with us. We have to put in time with God, and also put in time and seek the things that we desire. What are we supposed to be doing? What is our purpose? We can't just depend on God to do everything. We actually have to get moving. And I'm talking about for me too, because I'm supposed to be looking up on the website for some stuff that I'm working on, and here it is, 3 days, and I haven't looked on the website for it yet. Let's not be stagnated, because it's not going to fall in our laps. That's what I'm saying. Like, we actually got to give movement in order to birth the promise of God. We have to give movement. And as it say right there in 1 and 8, and then if you get your commentary Bible, it'll break it down. It'll break it down, because even though God had the land there, Israel still had to take possession of it. The land is there, but it's up to us to take possession of whatever God has promised us. Whatever that life is, whatever it is that you know in your spirit that God spoke to you, you have to give movement in order to possess it. And how we're going to do that? I told you, you're going to serve. You're going to love. You're going to stay committed to God. You're going to continue to fight. You're going to do it when you don't feel like doing it. So that is all I wanted to say. It's not much today, but that is pretty much what I wanted to say, because I was sitting thinking on it, trying to figure out where I fit, my purpose. Even though you might know a piece, but what do I actually need to do to get it? And are you going to just sit and die in the wilderness? Or are you going to go out and take possession of your land? I would advise you to read that chapter over and over and ask God to download what He wants you to know from that chapter. And that's basically what I'm doing. I'm going to read it over and over until I get it. I hope I did good enough explaining it, because I read this chapter before, but at the same time, like I said, you read it, but it's deeper, and I'm just not learning how to go deeper. So you got to study it. You got to study it. You got to study the Word. So for me, allowing God to use me is me doing these videos, because it's not my personality. This is not something that I would desire to do for myself, but it's not for myself. So whatever reason He has me doing it, I'm doing it, and I'm learning and teaching myself at the same time. It's a struggle, but it's worth it in the end. So I'm being obedient, and I'm doing what He asked me to do. Whether it's practicing for something, I don't know. Maybe it is practicing for something that I'll be speaking to other people. I do not know. But what I do know is what I have to do now. So seek God first, and see what is it that He desires you to do. And even if you don't want to do it, just keep doing it. It's not too much to benefit you. is to benefit others through you. Because whatever he's going to do to your life is going to be for his glory. Through your life, it's going to be for his glory. Because I don't have it all together. I'm just sitting here swinging it too. But I want to be real with it. And I want to be genuine. And I don't want to be moved. I want to actually keep going. Allowing my faith and my confidence and my boldness to keep growing. I have to ask him all the time for knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of his word. And if I had to sit there for hours and keep reading it and getting and writing down little stuff as I go along, then so be it. But I feel good when I get up. So all I'm going to say to you is to keep pushing and keep striving and keep fighting the good fight of faith. We all in this together and looking for one thing, and that's to get into the kingdom. So until next time, go read this chapter. It is a pretty good chapter. Until next time, I'll see you later. Bye.